Hello, everyone. Welcome to Soberside's Story Chasers, where I, the Sober Side, narrate the smaller elements of a narrative. The pilot episode, pun not intended, ever, is for EVE Online, a sci-fi MMORPG developed and published by the Iceland-based CCP Games, originally launched May 6, 2003. The setting is more than 21,000 years in the future, where humans have colonized a new galaxy called New Eden. One of the unique things about this game is that much of the narrative and the entire economy is actually player-driven, such as the Guinness World Record-setting Battle of M2-XFE, where, between both factions involved, a total of 3,404 ships, equating to a total cost of $378,012 American dollars were destroyed. Those numbers were based on the conversion rate of real-world money to the in-game currency, ISK, at the time. Another example is the failure of players to repel an NPC faction from invading certain systems, which has effectively locked most of my in-game assets to include a nice battlecruiser and a few other ships in a system I can no longer access. But today I'm going to be talking about an event that actually impacted the course of development in the game, the Jita Riots. Back in 2011, CCP was working on the free expansion Incarna, which allowed players to walk around inside of the space stations, which actually ended up being just your personal quarters and has since been removed from the game. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get any footage of that. Regardless, this update also came with microtransactions that allowed you to buy clothing items for your character, one of which was actually a monocle that translated to $70 at the time. With a perceived threat of pay-to-win elements being introduced to the game, players began protesting. Even though players could already buy the in-game currency with real-world money through a pilot's license extension, or Plex. The WoW token that Blizzard implemented a few years ago works in a nearly identical way. Side note on this, the in-game currency of EVE Online is the Interstellar Credit, or ISK, which is the same abbreviation as Iceland's real-world currency, the Icelandic krona. Back on track though, these protests took the form of players opening fire on a monument located outside the game's central trade hub, a space station orbiting the fourth moon of the fourth planet in the Jita system, known to players simply as Jita 44. Due to the game's programming, the monument was invincible, which allowed players to fire on it for hours, with the only real consequence being ammo cost, unless you switch to lasers. Personally, I only ever saw 10 to 20 active protesters at a given time, but some sources do allegedly say that it did reach into the thousands. I don't personally have any footage of it either, because this was 10 years ago, but if you do a quick search of Jita Riots on YouTube, it will net you several 3-minute videos of the light show. I will also add that I had read up on the announcements surrounding the expansion and did not participate. Although CCP's response was essentially, it's just clothes, after the riots, the in-game monument was updated to a destroyed version that is still in the game to this day, which is something I feel is a nice nod from the devs to the community. These developers have also built a monument outside their office in Iceland, which actually had the in-game names of every player that was subscribed during their 10-year anniversary. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, cheers.